If you're new to the terrain park, here are the first steps you need to take. Let's go! Before you start, make sure you have basic control of your snowboard. So have your heel and toe turns locked in and stable, and make sure you can ride downhill with your board flat on the snow without any issues. Of course, keep the helmet on and use any other protective gear you feel is necessary that will keep you safe and will boost your confidence. I'll put some links to my favorites in the description. The first steps in the park would be the boxes. Boxes are definitely the way to start because they're wider and a lot more forgiving than the rails. Okay, let's start practicing with a few drills on the snow. Trust me, it will be worth it. Find a mellow area, but not too flat. You need a little bit of speed. Mark a line on the snow, a few feet long going downhill, and mark the beginning and the end of the line. Walk up and strap to your board and stand on your heel edge. Look ahead and try to imagine that box in front of you. And when you're ready, turn your board and ride straight on that line with your board super flat on the snow. When you're on your imaginary box, keep your body stacked with your shoulders and hips over your feet and your hands above the tips of the board. Make sure your knees are a bit bent so you're stable and you have the flexibility to shift some balance to the front, but mostly to absorb the landing at the end of the feature. Do this a few times to practice your position and get confident because we're heading to the park. Find a fairly easy box to start with. Something short and wide that's a ride-on so you'll have an easy approach and not too high for the landing. You'll do exactly the same thing as before. Start on your heel edge, take your time, and when you're ready, slide down straight on the box with your board flat. Approaching a box can be somewhat intimidating at first, but make sure you're not too slow. That plastic can really stop the board if you don't have enough speed. So going faster can sometimes be easier even if it's scary. So find that sweet spot that works for you. Remember your stacked body position with your knees a bit bent, but it's also important to keep your body relaxed, so don't tense up. This can actually save you from some painful falls. You want to move with your board. If your board happens to slide a bit off the box, don't tense up and fight it. And definitely don't try to correct it, because your board can tilt and you'll catch an edge and fall. Instead, just go with your board and slide off the feature in the middle. It's not always going to be perfect. Whatever happens, make sure you anticipate the landing. A common mistake I see with riders just starting boxes is that they get nervous and as soon as they land off the box, they turn the board and they fall. Instead, bend your knees to absorb the landing and make sure you land with the board pointing straight downhill first. Only when you feel stable, turn your board to slow down or stop. One more thing, when you get confident and you want to start connecting a few features in a run, you want to do a couple of speed checks to make sure you're not coming in too fast. Speed checks are basically turning your board sideways to slow you down just a bit to get you to the speed you want. These are not turns. I'm not traversing to one side, but just quickly turning and going back downhill so I don't lose a lot of speed. As you progress, these will help you arrive to the feature with the right angle and more in control. Guys, make sure you start small. Your first few boxes should definitely be wider, ride-on, and with a small drop at the end. That way you reduce the consequences. And don't forget to breathe. Just keep stable and flat and just ride through it. When you feel ready, try to find longer and more narrow boxes. Try to jump to the box with an ollie or a pop. And when that becomes easy, approach it from the side. That will prepare you for the board slides, which I cover in another video, so make sure you check it out as you progress. Have a blast!